Have you ever paused to ponder what sparked the Russian Revolution? A pivotal moment, the Russian Revolution forever altered the course of world history. It was a time of great unrest, where the vast discontentment of the Russian masses was as palpable as the biting Russian winter. A chasm of disparity existed between the opulent rich and the struggling poor. The fires of revolution were stoked by these conditions, igniting a transformative saga. Today we delve into the saga that reshaped Russia and indeed the world. The story begins with the rule of Tsar Nicholas II. Ascending to the Russian throne in 1894, Nicholas II was an autocrat, a ruler with absolute power, but his rule was marred by missteps and misfortunes. The Russo-Japanese War, which saw Russia's defeat, was a major blow to the Tsar's prestige. Yet, it was World War I that pushed Russia to the brink. The war drained Russia's resources and morale. The Tsar's decision to take direct command of the military only highlighted his ineptitude and disconnected him further from his people. Adding fuel to the fire was the bloody Sunday Massacre of 1905, where peaceful protesters were gunned down by the Tsar's soldiers. This brutal act sparked outrage and discontentment among the public, leading to widespread calls for change. And so, the seeds of revolution were sown. The first act of this drama unfolded in February 1917. The February Revolution marked a seismic shift in Russian society. It all began with a series of strikes and protests, sparked by food shortages and public discontent. The unrest grew, the strikes swelled into a general strike, and the Tsar's troops, once loyal, began to mutiny. The Tsar Nicholas II found himself cornered, and in a historic move, he abdicated the throne. The vacuum left by the Tsar's departure was filled by the provisional government, a temporary authority made up of Duma members. They made promises of reform, but crucially, they chose to continue Russia's involvement in World War I, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences. This was a monumental moment in Russian history, a time of change, of fluidity, of revolution. But the story doesn't end here. As the year rolled on, October brought with it a new wave of change. The Bolsheviks, under the resolute leadership of Lenin, were rising in power. Lenin, with his strategic acumen and revolutionary fervor, had a single goal: to seize power from the provisional government. The Bolsheviks were more than just a political faction. They were a force of change, determined to uproot the old and plant the seeds of a new society. Their influence spread across Russia, gaining momentum as they championed the cause of the proletariat, the working class. The storming of the Winter Palace, an iconic moment in world history, marked the tipping point of this revolution. It was a grand, symbolic act of defiance against the old regime. The Winter Palace, once a symbol of the Tsar's unyielding power, was now in the hands of the very people it had oppressed. This wasn't a peaceful transition. The Bolsheviks' rise to power ignited the start of the Red Terror, a period of intense political and social strife. It was a time of fear, uncertainty, and bloodshed as the Bolsheviks ruthlessly eliminated any opposition to their rule. Thus, the Russian Revolution reached its climax, dramatically altering the course of Russian history. In the wake of the revolution, Russia stood transformed. The once imperial power had now metamorphosed into a new entity, the Soviet Union. The Tsar's rule was replaced by a socialist government, a radical shift that sparked a bitter civil war. For years, the Red and White armies clashed, with the Bolshevik Reds ultimately claiming victory. But the revolution's echoes didn't stop there. Rising from the ashes of conflict was a new leader, Joseph Stalin. His iron-fisted rule would create a powerhouse of industry and military might, but at a steep cost to the Russian people. His reign, marred by purges and famine, was yet another chapter in Russia's tumultuous journey. The Russian Revolution wasn't just an event, it was a seismic shift in human history. It upended social order, challenged ideologies, and reshaped a nation. And so, the Russian Revolution, a saga of struggle and change, forever marked its indelible imprint on the pages of history.